Thank you, David, so much for coming and being with us today. I know you mentioned going over a bunch of CoreLogic tools and some other things that we might not even know are out there. So thank you for being with us today. We appreciate your time. So
Yeah,
I'll let David kind of take it from here.
All right, thank you so much. As she noted, I will be covering, I'm going to be going over kind of just where you can access a lot of our different tools and services that are available to you. I'll touch on a couple of newer tools and things that you might be unaware of. And then I'll dive into kind of some more of the CoreLogic products and show you some of my kind of favorite features of the Matrix system. So some little things in there that you may be unaware of, and some of you may be aware of them. So it just might be a nice little refresher to let you know that those tools are out there. And then I will end with the MLS Touch mobile application. So I'm going to do a screen share with my phone, and we'll kind of touch on that MLS Touch mobile app since that is also a CoreLogic product. So I keep using the term CoreLogic, which actually they just changed names. They are now known as Cotality. But I'm going to kind of use them interchangeably. So Cotality or CoreLogic is the parent company to a suite of products that have different business ventures and things outside of just multiple listing service and data. They do mortgage and all kinds of things. But we focus primarily on them from the MLS perspective, which is going to tie us into the CoreLogic products, which are going to include Matrix, Realist, One Home, and then the MLS Touch mobile application. So again, I'll be touching on those a little bit more in depth. But before I dive into specifically those CoreLogic tools, I want to just highlight where some of these resources are available to you, and where you might be able to see those and get access to them. So first and foremost, it is our main website. So if you just go to our main website, northstarmls.com, there's a tab at the top that says MLS Tools. If you hover over that, it's going to give you 4 different categories, but if you simply just click on MLS Tools, it's going to take you to a web page that has a lot of these tools outlined for you. So we've got access to your MLS, we've got our MLS front-end systems is what we call them, and then our Northstar MLS dashboard, which I'll show you here in a moment. We've got the Manage Your Listings category, and again, kind of going down the side over here on the left, you can choose each particular product and learn more about that product. We've got market stats and listing data. So again, a very long list of different tools and services available to you there. And then your Connect with Clients, which is going to focus in on like that client portal and some mobile applications, down payment resource. So just some resources to help support your clients. So those are all available to you here, again, under that MLS Tools tab on our website. And most of these products, a lot of them you can just log in using your single sign-on. So once you're logged into the system, you're logged into Matrix, it'll automatically take you into that product. And again, a majority of them are free to use, or they're included in your MLS subscription and your membership with your local association. There are a handful of products that do have some sell options. So there might be some nicer reports that are available to you. Maybe there's a particular property that you're marketing that you want to include a little bit more in-depth analysis of the property, or just include another report. Maybe you're hosting an open house and want to feature some content there at the open house. So there are some products that do offer some upsells when it comes to like reports or other tools that you can use. So again, this is one place where you can access some of these MLS tools right on our Northstar MLS website. You can also access a lot of these tools on our Northstar MLS dashboard. So on our website, there's a link up at the top in the top right that says dashboard. If you click on that, it'll log you into your, try and zoom in a little bit here. It'll allow you to log into the Northstar MLS dashboard. So, or that URL is simply just member.northstarmls.com. It's going to take you into a page that looks like this. So now it'll force you to log in. So you'll be logging in using your Nerds ID and then your credentials to get into the system. And then this dashboard is just kind of a nice landing page that highlights all of the tools and systems and services that are available to you. This dashboard is customizable, so you can drag and drop these icons as you wish to see how they're sorted. You can change the view from kind of an expanded view to a condensed view that removes the descriptions of what those tiles are. You can also add and remove apps. So if there's certain apps out on the dashboard that you're not using, maybe you want to deselect them, you'll just unclick the star, it'll remove them from the dashboard here. Or if you want it back out there, you simply just click on that gold star and it'll go ahead and it'll add that tile back out on that dashboard for you. You can even customize the look. You can go from dark to a high contrast view. So it's fully customizable, but it's a really nice landing page. And we're working on utilizing this dashboard a little bit more to do some promotion of news and alerts. So there'll be kind of a messaging system that we'll have popping up and just informing you of things that are going on, trainings, that type of thing. So just a nice landing page again for you to access all of the systems and services and tools that are available to you with your MLS subscription. Over on the left, there's links that link you directly back to our website. So it'll take you to the support, our blogs, which are housed under the insights, rules and regulations, and then some additional training materials. So those, again, go right back to our website. And as you scroll down on the page, we've got links to all of our partnering associations, our main website, the state association and the national association, and a couple of links to the DNR lake finder links on their websites, because a lot of people are looking up lakes and bodies of water and DNR numbers, that type of thing. So again, this is our North Star MLS dashboard is what we call it. It's at member.northstarmls.com, or it's accessible directly from our website too. So if you go to northstarmls.com and click on that dashboard link up at the top, you can log into that particular platform.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Online. Are these the same tools that when you're in the matrix, if you go to the tools tab?
Yes. Yes, they are. Yep. And that's where I'm actually leading to next. So then, as you do know as well, going over to Matrix, which you're probably pretty familiar with, there is a tools tab up at the top, and it's going to link many of those same system services and tools. So because you're logged into Matrix, it'll automatically take you into those products as well. It's not as robust of a list, but a majority of those products are listed here under that tools tab in Matrix. And then also out on the Matrix dashboard, there's this section called external links, and many of those links are also listed there. So you can get into those products and services there as well. So there's really three main areas where you can access the systems and tools. Again, northstarmls.com, member.northstarmls.com, which is the North Star MLS dashboard, and then directly from the Matrix system. So that CoreLogic product. So I wanted just to give you a brief overview and highlight of how to access those systems and tools. We're starting with that. So now I want to lean into some of the newer tools that we've implemented kind of over the course of the last year. So I'm going to touch on those here briefly. A couple of them are kind of embedded within Ad Edit and usually within your listings. And those two that I want to highlight are both PCM, or Postcard Mania, and then Ad Builder. You can also access those products from the North Star MLS dashboard here. There's a tile for Postcard Mania and a tile for Ad Builder. And then again, you can access them too from the MLS Tools on our main website. But if you go into your listing in Ad Edit, this is what I like to show as far as a full integration with your listing for those products. So thankfully, I have an active test listing out here that I created myself. But you can see there's a little banner at the bottom that says advertise this listing with Ad Builder. So I'm going to touch on that and kind of just show you how that looks. So if I click on my listing and I go into my active listing, you're going to notice you have those tabs across the top for listing, media, open houses, and then advertising and promotion. You click on that advertising and promotion tab. Again, I want to touch on PCM and Ad Builder. So the first tile here is Postcard Mania. So if you want to do direct mailers and send out postcards for your listing, you certainly can do that. And it can be things such as an open house that you're having. Maybe it's a new listing postcard. Perhaps maybe it's a coming soon listing. So you want to advertise your listing as coming soon. You can send out those postcards and then go ahead and do those direct mailers. What's nice about Postcard Mania is that you can upload your address list that you already have. So as long as you have an address list that's in a CSV file, so like an Excel spreadsheet, you can go ahead and just upload that list directly into PCM, and then it'll take those addresses and issue out those postcards. So if you click on Start Your Campaign, I'm not going to go too far into the process here, but if you click on Start Your Campaign, it's going to open up what we call like the storefront, the PCM storefront. Sorry, the internet loading here. Still thinking. There we go. So it'll allow you to get started. So you can go ahead and select the product that you want to promote. So it gives you different postcards. You can do letters. So different sizes of mailers that you can do. Then you can choose that quantity. And then based on what you're choosing in that quantity, you're going to see that price highlighted down here. So then you can go ahead and then progress through the steps to create that postcard. And there's many color schemes already uploaded into the Postcard Mania system for brokerages. So I'm almost certain that there's a color scheme for like Keller Williams, but you can also choose your own color scheme too. So if you have your own real estate team or certain colors that you're using, you can go ahead and then upload those into the system here. I'm sorry, I don't know why it's being so slow. Yeah, so I guess we're limited by our internet bandwidth right now, but essentially it kind of takes you through that process. But again, you can kind of choose the different type of postcard that you want to promote. So if you've just listed something or you just sold something, so maybe you're trying to pick up more clients in a particular neighborhood, you could do a just sold postcard of a property that you sold down the street, and then you could blast it out to all of the other individuals in that neighborhood saying like, hey, I just sold this listing last month for a client, we sold for over ask, and let me know if you're looking to sell in the near future, that type of thing. So it's a really nice tool to be able to use. And again, you can always upload your own and do your own images and your own color scheme and all of that. So gives you just a really nice option there for you embedded right within your listing in Ad Edit. The other tool I want to talk to you about is Ad Builder. Ad Builder is really neat because it is essentially you're promoting your ad, and you can put as little or as much money into your budget for marketing your listing as you want. I believe the budgets do start at 150. I think that's the minimum that you have to do. But the intent of Ad Builder is to push your listing up in SEO search results. So in Bing and Google. So obviously the more money you put into it, if somebody's searching for, listings in Edina, Minnesota, then it's going to hopefully push your listing to kind of the top of those SEO results when you're searching on that search engine. Then it also allows you to do advertising on Facebook and Instagram as well. So you can do those social media ads and get those added to social media. What I really like about Ad Builder is that it goes through the life of your listing. So if you've got a coming soon listing and you list it and you set your Ad Builder budget, it'll automatically push your listing out, to Google and Bing, and then Facebook and Instagram. And it will, and again, that's that full listing life cycle is kind of the option that they recommend. So then what it'll do is it'll push your listing out. It'll say coming soon, and people are scrolling through their Facebook feed, and maybe they're in a particular area or they've been searching for listings. Your property and listing is going to pop up. They can click on and get your contact information and see the information about that particular listing. Now, when your listing goes from coming soon to active, all your ads automatically update. So now instead of them reading as coming soon, as people are scrolling, they're going to see active and that the listing is active on the market. Maybe you had a price improvement and you reduced that price on that listing. Again, your ads are automatically going to update, and then it's going to say, price reduction or price improvement, and your ads are going to update as such. And then finally, once it kind of falls into a pending or a closed status, again, your ads are going to, automatically update and say, recently closed, and then it'll be out there promoted for you. So it's a really kind of handy tool, pretty simple to use. It's kind of like a set it and forget it type of situation. So that's why we really like to promote the tool. But again, you can specifically do an ad targeted. So if you just want to do just like a just listed ad, you can obviously choose that. But again, the full listing lifecycle, which says ad content and duration is optimized and automatically updates with MLS status changes. It can include coming soon, just listed open houses, and more. So even if you're hosting open houses, your ads will automatically update and promote that as such. So kind of a cool tool to use. You just, again, simply move through the process. You can see my budget again. It kind of has that minimum $150 that you can start with. And you can see the estimated views and clicks that you'll probably get based on what you're setting your budget as. And of course, as you increase that budget, the higher likelihood that it's going to get more traction. So just really depending on the type of property and maybe the type of client that you have, you can kind of set these particular budgets, your target audience, a specific area, for your listing, so you can kind of give you that area. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, how long is that $500 good for? Is it a week, a month?
That is a really good question. I think it's supposed to be for the duration of your listing. But at some point, let's see here. I'm just going to kind of move through and see if it gives us a kind of an end.
And then did you say too that budget is per listing?
Correct, it's per listing, so it's listing specific. That's a really good question about the duration. I'm gonna write that down. I'll get back to Candy on that. And just,
21 days.
yeah, so that must be, yeah,
Let's do the normal list and change that.
yeah, I wonder if you can change that. I am actually not sure.
But then there's no sold. I mean, it might be sold for.
Right, if it's outside of that time frame. I'm just curious to see what happens if I push up my budget and it extends that time frame. It just seems to do that. I'll get back to Candy on that and just see if it is strictly just that 21-day window or how long it actually is. That's a good question. I haven't had that question
Dates,
yet,
can you
so.
change the dates in themselves? Like on the other side, it's 21 days. I mean,
Right, so you're saying like if you like enter it in and then like,
45 days and
yeah,
enter it in.
yeah, I'm not sure. Really, really good question. Yeah, I will find that out for you. I want to get a definite answer on that because that is certainly something that I should know. So, yeah, I'll dig into that deeper and get you a little bit more info on it. I think we're looking to probably do a webinar next month on Ad Builder, so we'll actually probably have them into for our monthly webinar. So those are questions and things that we'll make sure that they can address as we do that. So I'm working on actually scheduling that this week. So, but yeah, I'll follow up on that. So yeah, those are kind of two of our like marketing tools that were recently implemented that are kind of nice to be able to use, especially within the last year. And again, they're embedded right within your listing and ad edit. A couple of other tools I want to draw your attention to. One of them is CoreLogic. And CoreLogic offers some kind of in-depth paid reports. So you can start a free trial, so you can do a 14-day free trial and generate some reports and just see if it's worth it to you or not. Otherwise, it's $20 a month, but it gives you these nice reports. And I'll view a sample report here. So if you've got a particular property that maybe you want to really just offer some in-depth information on, it gives you some expanded kind of info, transportation, amenities, education, character, and nature, things that are in the area, community portrait, market trends. So it gives you some information that you can choose to include with your listing if you want to.
How did you get to this one? I'm sorry.
No, that's totally okay. Good question. There's multiple ways to get to it. So I actually clicked on the tile that says CoreLogic here from the North Star MLS dashboard. So the North Star MLS dashboard has CoreLogic, but you can also get to it from our main website under MLS Tools, and then under our market stats and listing data, there's a link for neighborhood intel. And then it's going to link you out to that particular platform and give you more information about neighborhood intel and then the CoreLogic reports. So again, it's kind of more of an in-depth, option for you, completely optional. Again, there are paid reports, so just keep that in mind. But it's something that you can check out. You can at least try the free trial. You can cancel it at any point. And then you can go ahead and explore those different report options. In collaboration with Neighborhood Intel / CoreLogic, which are these reports, there is also some information available on Matrix. It's embedded within Matrix. So if I just go to a new listing in Matrix, I'm just going to choose one here. Let's look at this property in Woodbury. There's a couple of tabs in Matrix that say neighborhood and demographics. So when you're viewing a listing, these are new tabs that were added within like the last 3 or 4 months. You click on neighborhood, it's going to pull up information, again, powered by CoreLogic, which is the same as those reports I just showed you. And this is on every listing that you're going to view in Matrix. So when you're viewing these listings in Matrix, you can look at the transportation and see that obviously it's kind of a driving neighborhood. The score is 9.5. You can click on amenities and see what things are nearby. See that Target's nearby, Sam's Club is nearby, Walmart Supercenter. So it kind of zooms in on some of these different items. Character, we've got vibrancy and nightlife scores. I think they've got little informational eyes that usually tell you where this data is coming from, but again, it's powered by CoreLogic, so they're providing this information. Education, it's going to just pinpoint schools that are nearby. And then nature. So if there's any parks or things in the proximity of the listing, you can kind of click through and you can see these particular parks and different things through that neighborhood tab. There's also a demographics tab. So it's going to give you kind of more of a refined breakdown of what income brackets are, what the population is by age group. We've got housing, the types of housing that are in the area, how many people are in the household, the education of your neighbors, and then also just different commutes and things. So again, we're talking Woodbury, kind of out in the suburbs. So obviously that drive time is going to be rather high than say something that's kind of in the urban core. So just a nice little tools for you to explore as you're viewing listings in the matrix system. So again, that goes hand in hand with Neighborhood Intel / CoreLogic. It's the same company. They use the two different names for the information that they're providing and the reports that they generate. And then lastly, we've got Tuesday, which we just released a few weeks ago. So we're the first MLS to get Tuesday. Tuesday is what we like to call, but try to shy away from using the actual term, is that it's essentially, the MLS in Instagram form. So it allows you to hop into Tuesday, you log in using your phone number that's on your membership record. And then when you get into Tuesday, you essentially can just scroll. So you can scroll and see a feed of listings. You can do target area, so you can choose to follow cities or zip codes. You can follow other agents. And then it allows you to really kind of see those different listings as you're scrolling through. It also enables you to leave comments if you want. You can like a post on Tuesday. But again, it's essentially the MLS in Instagram form. It's only available to agents. So it's MLS data feed, but it's locked down for you. It's only available to you. So the general public cannot access it. Eventually, you'll be able to share listings from Tuesday to your client, but they won't be able to access Tuesday. It's just going to be kind of like a web page with listing information. But as of right now, you cannot share anything with your clients either. So it's specifically just for agents. Do you have a question?
Yeah, so you're scrolling, well, first of all, how does it get loaded? Just all the MLS data?
Yeah, it's just MLS data. So you don't do anything essentially. You just log into it and you scroll.
What's going on where it is, like I'm sitting here in Paris.
You can follow Woodbury. So you can set it as one of like the areas that you follow, and then it'll kind of pinpoint better listings for you. When you first log in, it'll ask you to set some areas and if there's different agents that you want to follow and stuff. So it'll focus more on those listings for you. But if you log in and don't set any of those, it's essentially just a feed of MLS listings, MLS wide. So you could be seeing anything and everything. So I think that there'll be some refinements to it as we move forward. Again, we're the first ever MLS to even have it. We're their client number one. So it's just kind of, we'll be moving through the process with them as they continue to make things updated. Right now, it's only available on iPhone. So just something to also keep in mind, it's only available on iOS because of different like stringent policies and things to get it developed. So they usually start with iPhone and then eventually we'll be seeing it available on Android sometime later this year is what we'll plan to see. So
it's only as an app.
correct.
Okay.
Yep, it's a mobile application. Yep. Yeah. So, and I can even, let's see if it'll allow me to share it here. I can do a quick just mirror.
Really kidding? Let me crank the wheel. All right. Let me know if you like it.
Maybe it won't work. Hang on. Let me do this instead. All right, there we go. So it looks something like this is what it looks like. Or maybe if it allows it to launch, share. Again, I'm sorry, I'm on the Wi-Fi, so it's kind of being fiddly, but you'll see the photos for the listing. So you'll be able to scroll through and see the photos. But you essentially just scroll through like a feed like this. It's just like Instagram where you're kind of like scrolling through. And again, you can like things, you can make comments on things. Sorry, it's really, really slow.
$1,000, we might be in with that.
Right. And unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. It's just kind of anything and everything. But if I go and click on my profile, you can see that like I've got followers in here. So like I've got some agents that I'm specifically following. You can follow your office. So like I can follow North Star MLS, which I don't know why I wasn't. So I'm clicking on that now. But yeah, so you can kind of set those and let those be I live in Crystal, so I've got recent searches. I can search for listings in Crystal, then it's going to pull up those listings here. And then it, it shows depending on their status too. So the green means that they're active on the market. I believe yellow means that they're pending. Yep, it's pending. So there's like different color codes for listings and things. Then you can scroll through. So these are literally just listings in Crystal because that's the city that I chose to search by. So you can kind of scroll through and just see what's out there. So it's just really more for like an engagement aspect. Again, social media, the first MLS to get it. Definitely check it out. It's worth it to just at least explore and see what's out there and give you another method of engagement and kind of scrolling to see properties. So again, I think we'll see probably further refinements to it as it kind of grows and expands. But being MLS #1 with the product, there's always those little bit of growing pains and things, but it's kind of a cool platform. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my phone screen and hopefully get it back over to my computer here. Here we go. All right, so those are kind of some of those new things that I wanted to at least touch on and go through with you and show you what's really out there. All right, so now I'm going to dive into Matrix. I'm going to spend some time just talking about some Matrix updates and some little things that you may be unaware of, and then just showing you a couple of my favorite features that are out there too for you to use. So some of this you may be fully aware of, or you might use it on a daily basis even. Some of you it might be a good refresher, and some of you may have never even seen it. So we're gonna go through these. So again, Totality or CoreLogic. Those main 4 products that we have with that vendor is Matrix, Realist, One Home, and MLS Touch. So in here on the Matrix system, you may have noticed that there are some new displays available to you on the dashboard here and in your search. So if I go click on my name in the upper right-hand corner and I turn off classic mode and go to the new dashboard, it's going to look something like this. So they are running 2 kind of dashboard looks side by side right now. I'm assuming at some point their intent is going to be to cut over to this fully, but we don't know when that date is. It's probably quite a ways out in the future. So don't panic just yet that you have to learn something new. But essentially this dashboard is more mobile friendly. So you can see that it kind of cuts down on that white space on the screen. I switch back to this classic mode. It's always so tiny and there's so much white space. So they're really trying to make it a little bit more intuitive and just fill the screen and give you a better view to be able to see these tiles out here on your dashboard. So all the tiles are still essentially going to be the same as to what you're used to seeing, but they're out here on your dashboard. Yes, did you have a question? Thought I saw a hand raised. Sorry, out of the corner of my eye. So again, it's the new view. I suggest at least just checking it out because it is probably something that you'll need to get familiar with down the road. We'll obviously be informing you readily and very in advance with a lot of materials to if and when they do a cut over to this new view. You can go ahead and you can still edit the dashboard. It's supposed to be more mobile friendly. So when you're viewing it on like a narrower screen, I don't know if it'll allow me to pull in my screen here. It'll configure accordingly. So if you're viewing it on a narrower screen, you're going to see that it kind of stacks those boxes and allows you to scroll much easier rather than the old view, which kind of just jams everything together and makes it super tiny. These boxes are also locked. So as you notice when you're trying to view like the Matrix desktop on your mobile device, you're trying to click on one of these boxes, you're clicking it and it's moving it around and it's readjusting things. These boxes are locked. So when you're viewing it on the mobile device, you're not going to accidentally, move something around and change it out of order. So just a nice improvement in functionality and just more of a better user experience with that newer, updated looking dashboard in the Matrix system. So again, something to check out, and it's available underneath your name in that upper right-hand corner. You can switch from classic mode over to that new view. You can edit the dashboard so you can still shift things around, so you can move them around, or you can even turn off that particular tile. So if you don't want to see like hot sheets, you can turn hot sheets off and it'll collapse that tile. obviously you can turn it back on and then it shows back up. So just a nice little way that you can modify and customize that North Star MLS dashboard. I'm just going to switch back to classic mode just because. Also under the search, so you're used to going into search single family and seeing the search fields look like this. There's also a new search option available, which this to me is a little bit trickier because it's something that you probably function and use very frequently. But there's a little tile in the upper left-hand corner that says try our new search. It's going to look something like this. So it is going to take some getting used to. But what it's actually emulating is, if you notice, if you go to the realist tax system and then you do a tax search, it's going to look really similar. So they're trying to be a little bit more unilateral across the board with their products. So you're going to notice that the realist search and then the matrix search are going to look very similar. So they're going to be consistent across the board, whether you're doing a tax search over here or doing a listing search over in the matrix system. You still have the capability to go ahead and add custom fields. So there's a gear over here. You can select the fields that you want. It's fully customizable, so you can kind of get it set up the way you want to. But you're essentially going to be having all the same functionality that you do have in the classic search in this new search. But again, I highly recommend just checking it out, spending a little bit of time with it, familiarizing yourself, because at some point I wouldn't be surprised if they choose to cut over to this fully. Again, we don't have an end date or an estimate as to when or if that's going to happen, but just something to at least explore and familiarize yourself with. All right, also in the North Star MLS system, and a couple of newer features that you may be unaware of, is there's a couple of links up in the upper right-hand corner here. One of them says NWW MLS, which is the Northwestern Wisconsin MLS based in Eau Claire. And then there is the Omni MLS, which is actually the largest MLS in like Latin America. So we have what we call an intra-matrix collaboration. So it's specifically available in the matrix system to be able to search for some listings in those areas. So if you've got a client who is working in Western Wisconsin and perhaps the listing is only listed in the Northwestern Wisconsin MLS, if you click on that link, it's going to take you over to kind of a reduced view version of their matrix system. So you can come in here and you can see that the color scheme is a little bit different than the matrix system that you're used to, because this is what Northwestern Wisconsin uses. You can come in here and you can look at the listings in that particular MLS. So you can come in here, you can actually see that there's listings here in Eau Claire and in Grantsburg and in Chippewa Falls and Thorpe. So, that's pushing even further central Wisconsin. You can click on the listing and get that listing information. It's just a really nice tool if you're looking in the Western Wisconsin area, you have a client over there, looking for a cabin or something like that. You do have access to that Northwestern Wisconsin MLS through your matrix access. Same thing goes for Omni. Omni is a little bit more obscure because, again, it's the largest MLS in Latin America. But if maybe you winter in Mexico, or you're trying to support a client who's searching for properties down in those areas, you can come in here and you can access listings from kind of the Latin America and Central America area. So again, these are just easy add-ons that we could just essentially turn on with the flip of a switch in Matrix. So they were nice little collaborations that we were able to add just to give you access to more and more data. Obviously, you're probably going to find more value in the Western Wisconsin MLS listings, but at least you know that you have access to both of these platforms here, again, right within the Matrix system.
David, I don't know if you're able to do that from there, or if we have to do it. But are you able to share your screen?
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. I probably have to join your Zoom call is what probably needs to happen.
Okay.
I guess I wasn't sure. I should have asked you earlier. So yeah, so rather than seeing me and showing my screen on the TV, I don't know if I need to join your Zoom call, like as an attendee.
You have to, yeah. It doesn't look like we can do it from here.
I certainly can probably do that, because then I can probably still mirror my screen as the Zoom screen. So I don't know if you want to email me and invite me to the Zoom call. We can try that here in a moment if you want. I can just keep moving forward.
Okay, sounds good.
So then next I want to highlight the Matrix Learning Lab. So there's this tile on your Matrix dashboard that's called the Matrix Learning Lab. It is an excellent resource of information. I need to log in here. Excellent source of information for the CoreLogic suite of products. So you're going to notice that there's a tab at the top that says Explore by Product, and those products are going to be listed there. Matrix, One Home, MLS Touch, and Realist. So if you come in here, you can access different videos and trainings and guides for all of these different products. So it really just gives you a very expansive look and view at these different systems that you have available to you and that you might be using. So if you click on MLS Touch, for example, it's going to take you into there. There's going to be a little intro video for it. As you scroll down, you're going to see that there's user guides for the product. There's different videos down here, getting started series, MLS Touch overview. If you click on that, it's going to give you these different videos and things for you to view for these different products. So it's in a really, really nice area for you to be able to access. And again, that's the Matrix Learning Lab, available right here on the dashboard in the Matrix system. I think it actually might be housed under Help here too somewhere. A lot of different guides and videos that are embedded within the Help within Matrix, but I kind of like going to the Learning Lab because I just feel like it's a little bit more user-friendly, easier to filter by product, and then just really focus in on what you're looking at. So again, Matrix here, you can scroll down, and it gives you the different views, more information about Matrix, the guides and data sheets, and then quick tip videos. So really nice resource available to you for the CoreLogic suite of products in the system. Perfect. Let me see if I can need to minimize my screen. Let me go over to my email here. Let's see if I can.
The Zoom link is right there.
See if I can get into it. And then I'll see if I can just share my screen. Do you want me to keep my audio off though? Because otherwise there might be echo or reverberation. All right, so let's join it. Okay. Let's see if I can. Use to do this, share.
Thank you.
Okay, so this might get a little funny for some of you, but let's see if I can minimize this. Want to make. How do I get back to Zoom?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think it's just, here we go. Get rid of this, it's just not in the way. Okay, so hopefully you guys in the room can still see this. And then we can also. All right, so you in the room should see this, and hopefully you on Zoom can also see this. So again, the Matrix Learning Lab, really good resource for Matrix tools and services and things that you can access and watch. All right, I'm going to dive into a Matrix search really quick. And again, just show you some of my favorite features of the Matrix system and some things that you may be kind of unaware of. So when you drive into a Matrix search, there is additional fields. So as you notice when you're inputting a listing into the ad edit system, there is just an array of information and data that you can input about that property. Matrix is set up by default to have kind of some of these main fields listed at the top. And then down towards the bottom, there's this little toolbar that says additional fields. And if you click on add or add remove, it's going to give you a full list of all of those data fields that are available to you that you can choose from and add as searchable fields in your Matrix search. So I always like to highlight these because I think they get overlooked, or if there's something really specific that your client is looking for, and you know that there's a data field for that in Add Edit, then it should be searchable in Matrix. So if you see the data or the data field in Add Edit, it should be searchable and filterable, which is not really a word, but you should be able to filter by it in the Matrix system. So for example, if you're looking for maybe active listings or coming soon listings in Edina that are on a golf course, I like to do a little Control F or Command F and search for the word golf. And then we can see association amenities. That's not what I want. Lot features. I want to know that the properties that I'm searching for are on a golf course. I can go ahead and choose that option. And again, that's an additional field that I added called lot features. And as I scroll back up and view my results, you can see that there's 0 results right now. So there's 0 results that are coming soon or active in Edina on a golf course. So unfortunately, my clients are out of luck if they want to find one in Edina on a golf course. So I'm gonna go ahead and just type in another municipality here and see if anything else pops up. Still nothing. But obviously, the narrower you get, yeah.
Is that only if the person on the listing side
You got
put
it.
that in? So
Yes.
if it, and it has to be in that list, it can't be like a term in their remark.
Correct. So they specifically have to be selecting on golf course in the lot features field in ad edit system. So again, which kind of really boils down to what the MLS is. We're all about data integrity. Our data is only as good as what you're putting into our system. So if you do get a notice from our rules team asking you to update something or include some information about your property, try not to get mad at us because we just want the data to be good and accurate. So obviously, the more information you put on your property, the better likelihood that if somebody's searching for something like this, that your listing is going to show up in their results. So it's really important to try to be, specific and include as much information as possible. So yes, if they are using the lot features field in ad edit and then choosing on the golf course.
Can you speak to the remarks section there and
Yeah.
can you just or whatever, like, how do you?
So yeah, so there's you have to it's kind of like a wild card. So if you surround your terminology, sorry, this toolbar didn't go away. So if you have the different remarks here, if you're surrounding your, let's just do, let me get rid of on golf. Maybe we can actually do some results here. So we have 225 right now. I'm just trying to think of an example for
Other
something.
mouth covers.
So yeah, so like, like
I have one.
in-law, so we're gonna search for these terms using those asterisks, and I typed in dash law. You can see that we've got 3 matches. So if we come down here to the results, and then if we actually view these listings, we should be seeing in-law in those remarks here at some point. So if I do even a Command F here and then do this, you're gonna see ideal for a mother-in-law suite. So that's how you would use that remarks field. Again, surround it with those asterisks and it'll be searching as like a wildcard for those particular words that you're entering into that search field. That's a good point and a good feature that if you're unaware of to be looking for. The in-law suites are tough because we don't have a specific field right now for ADUs. I do know that's something that we're exploring, but we also use the RESO, which is the Real Estate Standards Organization. We follow their standards for being able to implement data fields to be consistent across the board. So ADUs is something that we are considering and exploring, and hopefully we'll have like a better breakout for something that specific. But yeah, if you are looking for like an in-law suite, searching the remarks is one way to do it. You can also search for like second unit, which that gets a little bit tricky because again, our data is only as good as what people are entering in into the database. So, but those are definitely good options to be searching for something specifically like that. All right, so that was the additional fields. On the map search, if you were searching on the map within Matrix, there's this little tool called INRIX or INRIX Drive Time. So it looks like this little car with the clock at the top of your map. If you click on that, you can actually get an area layered on your map based on drive time to or from a certain location. So I'm just going to enter in our office address here. If I even remember what our office address is. Should pop up for me. There we go. So Brent Road West, Minnetonka, that is our office address. I want to be able to drive to here by 8:30 in the morning, and I only want it to be a 20-minute commute. And I'm just going to choose Monday as my starting day of the week. So if I add that shape on the map, it's going to estimate that I ideally would be living within this perimeter. So if I'm searching for a house and I want it to take me 20 minutes to get to my office at 8:30 in the morning on a Monday, I should be living within this area in order for that to happen. So it's just a really nice tool to be able to use. You can also do from, so you can do like to a certain address, or what's nice is you can actually apply another shape. So what's your office address here?
100 Wayzata Boulevard.
It pops up for me. So let's say that your spouse works at this office location and they want to be able to drive here by 8:30 in the morning in 15 minutes on a Monday. If I add that, it's going to apply a second shape, an overlapping shape. So it's going to give them their ideal area as to where they live. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky because you can't exclude these shapes, but you can freehand draw. So your like ideal shape for where you would want to live. Oops, now I'm dragging that shape. That's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to apply my freehand polygon. So essentially, I'm going to try to trace. Oops, again, I cannot freehand. Using this trackpad and not a mouse is always tricky. You're going to want to try to encompass this, overlapped area. And again, I'm freehand drawing it, so it's not going to be perfect, and it's hard with my trackpad. But essentially, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to draw around this overlapping shared space. And then what I can do is I've got that shape. Now I can go ahead and delete these other shapes. And then I'm left with that ideal shape of those overlapping two areas for those two spouses. So
16 inches.
if you want to be able to drive to like my office in Minnetonka 20 minutes at 8:30 in the morning on a Monday, then my spouse wants to be able to drive to this office in 15 minutes by 8:30 on a Monday, the ideal area is where we should be searching for a home is in this shape. So just a really nice kind of tool out here on the map search within Matrix that you can use. It's INRIX feature. And this is something that we've opted to include as part of our Matrix subscription with our vendor. So it is something that some MLSs may not have this feature. We chose to include it within our Matrix system. Also on this map search, I always like to kind of, focus in on some other features that are really nice to look at. There's this little layers icon. If you click on that, there's many different layers that you can apply. So you can apply like a zip code if you want to see that. You can see the city boundaries, it'll highlight those. So I've applied the city boundary, and then if I zoom out a little bit, you can see where those municipalities are highlighted with those line green lines. And within the shape, it'll tell you, what the municipality is. It also shows you school districts, so not school buildings specifically, but I at least can show you those school district boundaries. So then as you zoom out, you can kind of see where those school districts are. And it gives you, a high of those. West Tonka School District, got Orono, Wayzata, so you can kind of see where those school district boundaries are in a visible way out here on the map. So again, that's that layers tab here. You can apply those boundaries and things. And also, choose MLS statuses. There's just a lot of different layers that you can apply when you are doing a map search. We're on screen to zoom in order to be able to see some of
Our
these.
team's picked up.
So we can go ahead and choose like active and coming soon. So I can go ahead and choose those layers on my map. And again, as I zoom in and out, it should highlight them. You can see the little green pins here on the map. So you can see these active listings that are showing up based on those layers that I'm applying. So just another nice little feature in the map search. I'm going to just run a simple search and then show you the results columns. Again, another feature that I think comes in handy. So I'm just going to look for active and coming soon listings in Golden Valley. So I'm going to view those results. You're going to get it in this grid view. So in this grid view, you always have the capability to drag these columns around and move them as you see fit. You can also insert columns. So perhaps maybe fireplaces are really important for your client. So I can go ahead and I can insert a column and choose number of fireplaces as a column I want to include. And then I can apply that. So you can see in this column here, the properties that have or don't have fireplaces. Obviously, you can include this as part of your criteria out first and foremost. You can cut out anything that doesn't have a fireplace, but it at least gives you that count. So if I go to my criteria and I do fireplaces and I do 1+, it'll then at least cut down my results. It'll show me only properties that have at minimum 1 fireplace. So I've got my 22 results here.
Got that heading and see if you can sort by the fireplaces, see if they might have somebody at 3 fireplaces.
Yep, so then it'll do it from ascending or descending order. So if you click on it a second time, now it'll be from, descending order, and then I can do ascending order. So going up from there with those counts. So.
I know, someone else in our office was talking about how they will do this, add a column for the sale price, and then when they're looking at closed properties, the closed price, and so that would be.
Yeah, you can do a side-by-side comparison, right? So you can do like what it was listed at, then you can actually see what it closed at. So you can do that side-by-side comparison. And then what's nice is you can manage this display. So I can click on this little pencil with the notepad icon, and I can name this display like, I'm gonna do just ACT and CSN Golden Valley fireplace, so this is, I'm gonna save this as a copy. So once I do that, now I've got this display available to me at all times. So if I come and run a search, I can choose to filter by that, and it'll pull up those columns exactly as I've saved them in this custom display. Now, there's another way that you can edit this custom display, not just doing it here in your results. You click on your name in the upper right-hand corner, go to settings, and then go to custom displays. I can go ahead and click on that. And then you're going to see that one that I just created, ACT and CSN GV fireplace. Then you can go ahead and you can edit that custom display in here or delete it, whatever you want to do. But you can see I have all these columns selected in that custom display, and I can continue to add other data columns and other information to this custom display. And I can modify the widths of these columns. I can, center or left or right align it. So it really starts to get very intricate when you're customizing these displays in the matrix system. But again, just a really nice tool. So if you've got a search that you're running consistently, that's very specific and really kind of touches on, certain data, you can set up these custom displays. I just realized I only have 5 minutes left, correct? And I did not even nearly get through, relatively close to what I wanted to get through. So I'm going to cut off on Matrix there. I'm not going to talk about Realist or One Home, but I am going to show my MLS Touch mobile application briefly, even though there's probably way more I want to show you on it than I have time for. So I'm going to see if I can share my screen somehow. And I don't know if this is going to work with the Zoom because I'm not connected to Zoom on my phone. Check it is to share onto my MacBook here because then that would work, but
I can maybe just zoom in on you and not present
yeah,
for time's sake.
so yeah, I don't know how to do because I'm not connected to the Zoom on my phone, so it's hard for me to show this mobile app. Yeah, if you want to just zoom in, like even on just like the TV screen or something somehow, but let me just touch briefly on the MLS Touch mobile application. MLS Touch is a CoreLogic product. If you're not using it, I highly recommend trying to use it. You log into it using the same credentials that you use for the Matrix system. It's fully integrated with the CoreLogic suite of products. So if you add a contact in MLS Touch, it will show up over in Matrix. So it's really nice because it's a two-way street. Some of you might be familiar with HomeSpotter. If you create a contact in HomeSpotter, that contact is not showing up over in your Matrix contacts. So when you log into Matrix and you go to your contacts, you're not going to see that contact. If you use MLS Touch, you will see that. It's a super nice tool to be able to have that access. You click on your contacts here. I'm going to go ahead and click on my own contact. You'll see that I have a bunch of favorited listings from my portal that I have set up for myself. you can see that I have listing carts set up and attached to my contact. If you click on carts, you can go ahead and see that I have David's favorite listings. If I click on that, it's going to pull up those listings that are in the cart that I created on Matrix. So you have access to all these listings in that cart from the MLS Touch mobile application. And again, I'm setting myself up as if I was a client, and then I created a cart for myself as a client. You have access to these things right at your fingertips here. You can also search by, search for agents. So down at the bottom, there's this members icon. You search, I can search for I'm just gonna search for myself, for example. There's 2 David Zimmermans in here. If I click on one of them, you're going to see that this is an appraiser, not me. If I click on the first one, you're gonna see it's regional MLS in Minnesota. This is me. So you can search for agent names and you can find their contact information. One of my favorite tools is going into the map search here. And then if you zoom in, you can see the lot lines. You click on the lot, it's going to give you the dimensions of those lots, but then it's also going to give you the tax information. So it's going to pull all this information directly from Realist with your legal description, their most recent tax year. There's a sales score. Then it even has the owner name listed. So maybe if you're going to be working with them, you can add them as a new contact. So you can click on the little icon here and it'll create a new contact for them right in this MLS Touch mobile application. So that's one of my favorite features, is being able to zoom in and get that tax information. And again, those lot lines too, and those lot dimensions. You can also filter, there's different filter boundaries here. You can switch over to satellite view, of course. So just a really nice tool to be able to use that. Trying to think just very quickly what other things in here I want to show you. One thing that I did not get to is the brand center. And in the MLS Touch mobile app or from your desktop, you can manage your branding. So you can come in here and you can upload your company logo or your brokerage logo or whatever you may be using. So you can see I have the North Star MLS logo uploaded here and customized. And then it also just automatically pulls the colors directly from my logo. And it pulls it right in as color themes within my mobile application. So, and then it applies this branding across the One Home client portal, and then your branding here, and then branding on reports that you generate. You can also share your branded app, your MLS Touch mobile app. So it'll give you a link that you can include like in your email signature. You can text it or email it to a client, and then it'll connect your client to you in the MLS Touch mobile application. So they'll be connected to you. Their app is called MLS Client, but they can still search, do some basic searches for properties and things. And then there's a messaging platform right within MLS Touch and MLS Client, so you can share messages back and forth in here. So it's just a really powerful tool, and again, fully integrated with the CoreLogic suite of products. So you can search by MLS number, hot sheets. You can do more of an advanced search. You can add more criteria, so it gives you more in-depth information. But I just wanted to at least put a plug in for MLS Touch. We did a webinar with them last month, and they did a great job with that. Yes.
We have a question online. I'm wondering if you've used the tool to walk the lot line in MLS
So
Touch?
that tool is from HomeSnap. So
Okay.
and HomeSnap was a product that we sunset a couple of years ago now because it sold and leads were not going to clients anymore. And that's what it used to be, the Broker Public portal, and it sold to CoStar, and it went through this evolution of ownership. So that's why we sunset that HomeSnap application. Unfortunately, to my knowledge, there isn't a as advanced of a walk the lot line feature in MLS Touch like HomeSnap had, but you can zoom in on your location. So you can see that I've got my bubble here. I'm sitting in this building. So that at least will show you your live location as you are on the property. So like if I was on one of these homes, nearby here, I could actually see my location in my little blue bubble as I'm walking the lot line. So at least it gives you something relative based on your location and then the lots that are available on the mobile application.
Just online, it says you can walk your property lines, but maybe that's just what it says on there.
Yeah, I think they're probably referring to this where it shows you your physical location, and then like as you move, like your location is going to move the bubble on the app. I'm assuming that's what they're talking about. So. All right, well, with that, again, I'm sorry, there was a lot of stuff that I didn't get to that I would have loved to at least touch on, but we can obviously do these again here in the near future. I'm gonna open it up for questions right now, if there's any, kind of remaining questions or anything that comes to mind or anything like that. I appreciate you having me here today. I wish I was more efficient with my time. I didn't realize I had so much stuff jammed here. I thought I was gonna run under, so. But hopefully you at least took a tidbit of information that was, slightly valuable, in some way, shape or form. And just really exploring what's available to you out there and different tools and things, that we have to offer, so. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.